Right, quick story before I head out. So I used to have like a chocolate addiction, years ago. Still do, it's one of my weaknesses. And I remember I used to drive, home every night, and I'd have to swing in to fucking Tesco Express. I know all the deals, you know what I mean? All the chocolate deals was on offer. This, that, and the other. I couldn't pass that shop without fucking swinging in and buying them. This went on for fucking months. And then on top of that, I had fast food addiction, so I would order pizza, Chinese and sit down after the pizza, the Chinese, crack open the fucking chocolates, drink fucking tea and eat them, and after a while, I probably got at my heaviest. I started to fucking blow up, So I had to do something about it, and what I did was I started making homemade protein bars. Michael Corey, look him up on fucking YouTube if you don't want to go if you don't like fucking messing around, with too many ingredients. You want something simple and fast, Michael Corey does it. And they're the ones I followed. I started making them and having them with a cup of tea instead. And what happened after a while was, I said, I'm missing something, And what it was that I was passing Tesco Express without even thinking about it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, sugar, I think, it's an addiction, It was something that the chocolate was drawing me in there every fucking time, And when I did those protein bars, I wasn't thinking of the chocolate anymore, and I started dropping weight. You might find that helpful. Right now, I'm doing, it might be remiss, it'd probably be remiss if I didn't tell you what I was doing, but I don't want to give people advice, you know what I mean? Say if it works for me, it'll work for you kind of thing, Well, I calorie cycle now, so I take most of the carbs out for 4 days, and I bring them back in after 4 days, So I start to fucking on the higher carb days. It's clean carbs that I'm talking about. I get to have one of these, It's a protein bar, cookies and cream. Gives me a psychological break, from dieting. It's great, and it offsets metabolic adaptation, well, that's what they say. It's debatable. But one thing it does do is, and I use this, bags of protein. I prefer chocolate flavored protein, but they never stock them for some reason, But one thing it does do, after a few days, it doesn't take long for your fucking body to rid itself of glycogen stores, The liver it stores most of the glycogen, and then it goes to the muscle, then it goes to the fat cells, So you drain yourself of all that, sugar, and you've already been tapping into adipose, fat cells, within those days, so that when you start taking and you have that high carb day, you might freak out and say, fucking hell, I'm going to get fat, but you don't. It goes straight to the liver, it replenishes the muscles, it gives you a psychological break, and it gives you something to look forward to. You don't mind dieting for 3 or 4 fucking days if you're going to have a break, So it offsets metabolic adaptation, they say, because that happens, they say, it occurs after about 100 hours. Your thyroid, it starts to down-regulate, Your metabolism slows down, takes a hit. So by bringing the carbs back in on the 3rd or 4th day, it stops that from happening, so you can keep burning fat. You can look this up online, calorie cycling, and there's loads of ways of fucking doing it, Loads of ways. You could design your own method, if you know the basics, of how it works. That was a simplified version I just gave, and you could design your own to fit your lifestyle, whatever works for you. But I'm a fucking fat storing machine, man, my body is very efficient at putting on fat, I could pull a fucking Nutty Professor transformation fucking easily. You think you're watching a Nutty Professor in real time, if I wanted to. So fucking easy for me to put on fat. All I'd have to do is press this off, come back in here after 2 weeks, and you would see, I'd be big fucking fat face, fat fucking fingers, everything. You say, what the fuck happened to that guy? I'd have to call someone fucking in here, just to press the fucking record button, because my fucking fingers would be too fat to fucking press it, that kind of shit, Right, that's giving me a bit of anxiety, I gotta go and do a fucking few laps. I'll see you again next time.